Well, the Majority Report is about to discuss some Tim Pool, so I figured let's pause it and let's watch it together because we all love us some Tim Pool content, especially when it comes from Majority Report. So let's let them cook.
Nate Evans is asking, do you have any chance at any Tim Pool or Dave high-level ideas, Ruben, or anyone else to laugh at, please? All right, well, let's ease into this because Tim Pool, as you recall, had Laura Loomer on his program.
Oh,
not
here
too
we
long
go.
ago. And Laura Loomer said some pretty extreme stuff.
Yeah,
and Tim had said, at least at some other occasion, that he was on board with the capital punishment for all these, liars and treasonous people in the government. And then the Harris campaign tweeted out saying, Trump operatives are pushing the idea of capital punishment for people who work in the government. And that clip.
Yeah, they've been very flippant with that language. It's like kill all the Democrats kind of stuff. It's like, what?
Included both Tim Pool and Laura Loomer. Didn't say that Tim Pool was a operative. I mean, necessarily. Laura Loomer, we know, was involved in the debate prep. God knows what it was.
I mean, it's quite clear they're referring to Laura Loomer in that situation because she was, at the time, joyriding around on Trump's plane with him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's definitely an operative.
Yeah.
And they didn't say who, but nevertheless,
It was Tim Pool.
decided to sue Harris. Now, look, Tim already, and this is my assumption. I want to make it clear because I understand that Tim is a little litigious.
Yeah, no
Tim
shit.
already
Damn.
probably has lawyers on retainer who deal with stuff like defamation because he's being sued for defamation. And sometimes when you're not that bright, you tell your lawyers, well, if I can get sued for defamation, then maybe I can sue somebody for defamation. And the lawyer might say, like, well, okay, because they're billing more than they've ever billed before.
I'll put it on your tab.
Based upon this brief, I get the sense that this lawyer is like, this is the lawyer. This is the lawyer's thinking like, I've hit pay dirt. This ain't happening again for me.
Tim was like, the best defense is a good offense, and the lawyer was like, hell yes.
Oh yes, you know what they say, Tim.
And I charge $200 an hour.
You got. I got news for you. I think he's getting charging a little bit more than $200 an hour. Is my guess.
Oof.
But because Tim went like I need a lawyer from like New York or L.A. or whatever, and those.
Who does Musk use?
Yeah, exactly. They're like $500, $700
Yeah, give me the best lawyer.
$100 an hour. They could be $1,000 an hour. And I'm sure the lawyer said, well, the
Is that Johnny Cochran guy still alive?
best way to make money is to spend money.
Oh, shucks.
That's the lie that really gets the uninitiated. But let's read a couple of from the complaint filed. This is, I found, rather ironic. Number 40, paragraph 40. Ultimately, the Post accomplished what the Harris campaign set out to do. The Post gave Mr. Pool's opponents, including people he wants to reach and engage, with an excuse to distance themselves from Mr. Pool. They needed an excuse to distance himself.
People would not understand why people are distancing themselves from that guy unless there was some sort of predicate.
Oh, the way I'm doing it now is because he did an interview with Laura Loomer. I mean, remember what the Post did primarily is just play a clip from his show. Political leaders and especially elected Democrats are now less likely to appear on Mr. Pool's show despite his efforts to build bridges for discussion and debate. Has he ever had a single Democratic lawmaker on his show?
I'm sure he
Not
has.
that I can think of.
I'm sure he has.
There's a chance Tulsi showed up at some time.
Not when she was a Democrat.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's been doing less and less confrontational stuff recently, Tim, after some unfortunate debates for him where he didn't look that great.
Well, I mean, that was problematic, but he's still.
Well, he also got threatened with his own lawsuits because he was using dangerous rhetoric, like literally saying "kill Democrats."
Oh, not inviting, Democratic politicians on there. I mean, I don't know how you measure that he has no chance of getting him on now when he had no chance of getting him on before.
Yeah.
In this regard, Mr. Poole has put millions of dollars where his mouth is, purchasing high-impact advertising in his native Chicago and New York City's Times Square to raise awareness of his show above the very streets on which he took on corporatism. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I have seen some of his billboards, and I was very like, what the hell? What?
An effort
Why here?
to reach many of the same people he once considered friends and allies. So I can't figure out if they're talking about he put up these billboards to drive
Hey, he was a dick before he was in politics.
viewers or to get guests.
He put up billboards to take on corporatism. How did he pay for said billboards? Was it from the money that he may have received?
This is an allusion to when he was shooting video.
Yeah, during the Occupy Wall Street days.
During Occupy.
Yeah.
Those are the streets.
No,
supposedly.
I get it, but
No, he also advertised Timcast in the Times Square one.
Yes, but the phrase awareness of his show above the very streets on which he took on corporatism in an effort to reach.
oh,
Like the Chicago,
understood.
yeah, it's like in the Chicago financial district.
Exploiting. Yeah.
Understood. Gotcha.
Yes,
Yes.
13, 14 years ago.
Past tense.
To counter the effects of the Harris campaign's disinformation, Mr. Poole will have to spend millions of dollars to win an audience with those who now falsely believe he wants a dictatorship that will imprison and execute his political opponents. This is almost as if you think that when someone says something and they read one tweet of it, that they're going to act upon what this guy or person says.
It's almost as if he is implying that.
It's almost like implying like, well, let me just continue to read because I'm starting to get some idea in my head as to like the dynamic of what he's saying from one tweet. What one tweet can do. Can you imagine if you were to repeat over and over, like on Twitter or on your show, like, I don't know, we're on the verge of a civil war.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be a race war over and over and over again. What kind of impact that might have at the same time.
I mean, one of my friends is a Tim Pool viewer, and he's totally got that mindset where he thinks that World War III is right around the corner. When that Civil War movie came out, he was just like, yeah, man, that's where we're going. That's why they're releasing this thing. They're just, I swear he went almost a little Alex Jones with it, where he was just like, yeah, I feel like they're preparing us mentally for it. So that's part of the PSYOP is putting that into the collective conscience of America. And it's a lot easier if people have like an understanding and like a baseline of what might happen. It's like, what the fuck? Okay. So zombie movies are training videos now. Okay.
Paragraph 41, Mr. Poole has had to invest in additional security to fend off those who wish to do him and those he cares about harm, laboring under the false belief that the content creator
What, did he hire Blackwater to protect his little compound?
supports tyranny. Now, what's interesting is that Tim announced there was going to be a lawsuit within 15 minutes of that tweet going up.
Yeah, he
Wow.
did.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was very short.
I've contacted my lawyers.
Yeah. I've already contacted I've contacted my lawyers. Be prepared.
Interesting.
Sorry, my Tim Pool impression and Ben Shapiro impression are pretty much the same.
He must have anticipated that this was going to
Destiny a little bit,
inspire
too.
people to commit violence against him off of one tweet.
Wow.
You can only imagine how inspirational multiple tweets or years of shows might be.
Whoa, weird. I just realized that him and Chappell Roan's publicist have like the same mentality about Kamala Harris and her little cabal.
If that dynamic is true, according to Tim Poole. Mr. Poole's concerns in this regard are not speculative. He and his employees have been victims of swatting. Shortly after the Harris campaign, August 31st, X post, a man showed up at the property owned by Mr. Poole. One of Mr. Poole's employees reported being assaulted by the man. But wait a second.
Wait,
Now, here's the deal.
wait a minute. I'm also a little confused. Didn't he have increased security and it still happened?
If you don't expend money on a really good lawyer, it may make it difficult for you to achieve what you want to achieve in a legal context. When you concede that you and your employees have been victims of swatting, you are conceding that there is a pre-existing problem. And it becomes that much more challenging to show that the offending act is, in fact, responsible for this. Next week, I'm going to be in Vegas at the Tort conference. This, incidentally, is a tortious, this is a lawsuit, tortious act to defame somebody. One of the things you need to do,
lots of torts.
if you're you need to show damages, and then you need to show a causal connection between what somebody did and what's happening. And the problem is if this is a pre-existing problem that you have, right? Like people are swatting me, or there are people trying to do me harm.
Yeah, if he has a long history of it.
How do you point to this one tweet?
The causal connection.
Yeah. Now, maybe
makes sense.
Well,
he devil's advocate, I think he's trying to insinuate that it's because of her position as like opposed to the other people where they were like smaller swatters or whatever. What's she gonna do? Send the Secret Service after this guy?
Maybe this all started after the tweet.
Yeah.
ZSS?
Maybe. Well, not some of it clearly didn't. One of Mr. Poole's employees reported being assaulted by the man. Upon information and belief, the alleged assailant, and I don't know what this means, upon information and belief, the alleged assailant knew about the Harris campaign's post, which served as inspiration for the
Oh, so they're pulling a Trump where they're like, see, it's the violent rhetoric. They're coming after me because of the violent rhetoric, guys. It has nothing to do with what I've been saying.
Expected visit. You have to.
Don't you just love how boisterous these people are about like the using that type of rhetoric, and also just like how they stand behind it until it starts happening to them? I know, hot take, right?
To establish that, but you've just basically undercut the fact that, like, well, wait a second, you've got this pre-existing problem. How do you know it's just from this tweet?
Yeah.
Mr. Poole is now working to secure round-the-clock security for himself and others shaken by this event. It's going to make it harder to have, like, sushi with the boys.
Working round the clock.
This doesn't, I'm not a lawyer, but this doesn't seem like the most tightly argued
No.
a couple paragraphs.
Well, I'm also not a lawyer, and I think you're correct. But
what does that have to do with swatting? Like a guy showed up and beat up one of your crew members?
he's saying, I mean, ostensibly,
And I like the story behind that.
the lawyer is saying, like, Tim is a potential victim of this stuff, as proven by the fact that he's been a victim of it before, and the lawyer doesn't seem to understand that sort of undercuts.
Yeah, they're trying to use it for them by saying, like, look, there's this chain of events that can be proven that I am like they totally target me, but then he's not seeing how that flies in the face of his argument.
The causal connection between the tweet and this, if it was you had this ongoing problem.
I'm confused as to why the tweet is defamatory in and of itself at all.
It's not.
He's a Trump supporter at this point, right? Or at the very least, he was just supporting DeSantis back when I was talking to him back last year. He changed his tune on that, and now he's basically a Trump supporter. So,
well,
because DeSantis used
arguing, he's arguing that I didn't agree with Laura Loomer. Now, the tweet never said that he did, although there is evidence that he has, actually, video evidence, which is difficult to refute because you can see Tim's mouth moving and saying that he agrees with Loomer. So
that's unfortunate for him.
I don't know. To be fair to Tim Pool, when Laura Loomer was on his podcast saying the pretty much killed the Dems crap, he stopped her and he cut off the podcast like that because they were already dealing with the FCC or somebody at that point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him.
This crazy impression that he supports, sort of right-wing tyranny when he regularly has guests on who like make jokes about throwing people out of helicopters and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, we can't talk about that.
Well,
That's kind of proving my point.
Had to cut off the stream because of some irresponsible rhetoric from some of his other employees.
Because of a pattern. Of
no, that was
that
the
kind
Laura
of
Loomer.
rhetoric.
Yeah, I distinctly recall him being upset, saying, "I can't stop getting people to say we got to kill this person. We can't stop killing people, et cetera, et cetera." So, perhaps it's a problem with the structure of the show, I would say.
9 to 5 writes, I'm a lawyer, and you really want to avoid putting, quote, upon information and belief in your complaint because it means you have no evidence or documentation.
Yeah. Exactly. Unlike, say, when the Texas shooting.
I'm sorry, Mr. Judge, but I've got a vibe here. Vibe check to the judge.
You're posted about Tim's show, which Tim got really upset about when he was confronted with that very fact. Upon information and belief.
Upon information and belief.
That is, I love belief. Like,
is he writing this for Tim? This is a product for Tim Pool, so they can say like, okay, that's what I'm paying for.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume it was filed.
But you could just tell him that you filed it, and he would never know.
Or, I mean, it's quite possible Tim was like, no, I just want to be able to put this out there.
Yeah, I think he did it more for publicity.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'll get views, and that's the way I'll pay for you writing it.
Yeah.
It's like when you have like a crazy aunt or uncle who's like, can you get this conspiracy theory I'm cooking up? Can you get this to X person? I've had that before. Will you cover this on your show? Particularly a family member that's a COVID conspiracy theorist, right? And you just say, yeah, I'm definitely going to tell Sam about that. Don't you worry. That's what the lawyer's doing, essentially. Okay, Tim. I'll definitely file this defamation case for you. Don't worry about it.
And, you know, I'm sure also he's like, I've got a
Well, if that gets back to whoever that is, to be an awkward Christmas.
bunch of extra money from this gig I did.
Sweet gig.
Yeah, for this tenant media. And so I'm trying to reinvest it. Okay, let's, since we're on the loony bin beat.
Ooh, we'll continue
This
it.
past weekend, it's really upsetting to me that I didn't make enough effort to like offer money to people to go to this and videotape it. I feel like I've let you guys down.
Well, wasn't there footage?
Here is Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson. Which part should we start on?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think I'm good on that. Maybe not. I don't know.
This is Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson. They are out in front of and they're talking about the crazy diversity at the Restore the Republic event. I mean,
I'm good on that. All righty. Oh, man. So I had known about the lawsuit before, but it is kind of funny that, yeah, he, number one, probably spent an asinine amount of money on that lawyer that put that language in, which, again, for non-lawyers to go, well, that doesn't seem very tight. That doesn't seem like you're going to be able to get that past any judge or anybody for that matter, because they're going to be like, well, wait a minute, you just kind of believe this, so therefore, how is that evidence? But he also made a good point about the whole swatting thing, because it is kind of like showing that there's a pattern of, him riling up people. And like his whole increase of security thing, it's like, well, you can't really place that just on the Kamala Harris tweet when you've shown a pattern of doing this before, hiring security and, protecting yourself. Also, the whole, like, is he not a Trumper thing? I'm so sick of how even Majority Report does this, where they play into it, where you guys are giving him the exact, response that he wants. And then you guys kind of do play into the, well, is he just an enlightened centrist who kind of goes, with his gut, but I don't know, the DeSantis thing was kind of like, maybe not. Like that was kind of a weird wagon to hitch onto, but Hey, it seems like he wants to go a little bit more Republican classic. I think that he sees the writing on the wall that if Trump does lose, that he can easily pivot and start doing more normie Republican content and start breaking from the MAGA sphere. So that's just kind of my take on it. I know, yeah, super hot take. Yeah, it's very mild. Well, if you enjoyed this content, definitely check out some of my other videos. I have a lot of videos that are very similar to this. I like to cover the Majority Report. I also like to cover very similar topics. Got some Tim Pool videos. I also got some fun Rogan videos that I think a lot of you would enjoy. Also, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys checking out my videos. So, yeah, I will see you in the next one.